Hi everybody, this is Diane. I am starting on a new project that has a bit of a different color scheme from what I normally do, and it's all based on a kit that I purchased quite some time ago from TlcCreates Vintage. The kit is a traveler's notebook style size kit, and it is called A Little Folk Art. And here's a sample of one of the pages. So as you can see, it's got the vintage look, and then it's got orange and blue, really pretty blue. So that's a bit unusual for me. I don't usually work with orange, but I've been surprised at how many orange things I have found as I've gone through my stash of different categories of embellishments and things to try to find things to go with this journal. I have found orange lace, orange buttons, of course, orange paper, which I didn't use much of, and etc. And then I found blue things also, and little embellishments too. So what I want to do right now, I'm just going to go through these really quick and show you what I've done so far. But today I want to just work on some little fabric lace and button embellishments. So here is what I did for the cover. I've been excited to get to use this kit because it was so different, and I love folk art, and I just was excited to get to use it. And then when it was time to go ahead and make the journals, I thought, what am I going to do for the covers? I had no clue what I would use for the covers. So I had pulled out a piece of cardstock, a couple pieces of cardstock. I thought this one might work like this on the front. In fact, I cut it and had it all ready to use as a cover. But then I found my blue tablecloth, and it's just about perfect with this. So this is an unfinished tablecloth with embroidery. This piece doesn't have any of the transfer on it. This one was pretty much done, and there was it was either iron-on transfer down here or a blank space, but I added my embellishments there. This one has some of the transfer here that wasn't embroidered. And this one didn't have as much of the embroidery on it. There's a little bit of transfer here. And so because it was pretty empty down here, I just added this trim at the bottom. So I also have these orange, light orange colored crocheted squares. So I thought they were perfect. So I used them, and these old photos, digital photos from tailor-made journals, and a little bit of a orangey yellow pansy that was crocheted. And just added a little piece of white lace to it. I don't know if I'm done embellishing. So I just took a piece of blue cardstock, cut it down to size, and then cut the tablecloth a little bit bigger all the way around, and then I straight stitched all around it just to have it fastened on, and then trimmed it. Trimmed the tablecloth right to the edge of the cardstock, and then zigzag stitched around it to prevent the edges from fraying too much. As you can see, the edge of the tablecloth had this white machine embroidery all around it, and it's kind of almost a scalloped edge. So I arranged them so that I could take advantage of the embroidery and also the edge. So two of them have a pocket on the front like that, and one of them has the pocket at the bottom, so it's on both sides. So that about takes care of how I put the covers together, and I don't know what else I'm going to do to the covers, but they're pretty much done, I think. So on the inside, each one gets 4 pages of the digital kit. And I did some stenciling. I used Spiced Marmalade Distress ink I used Vintage Photo and Faded Jeans. After I stenciled this on, I took my brush that I had used, the Spice Marmalade, and I just kind of cleaned it off on that. And there's the Vintage Photo, and then I did more of the orange and more of the blue. I only stenciled on one book so far. And the only other thing I have done is I took this pretty blue lace. These two are on ivory cardstock. I did one on white. Yeah, here's the one on white. So this is going to be a pocket. I took this pale blue lace and just sewed it to, I cut this piece to fit on across the bottom of one of the pages. This one is a little bit long, I'll have to trim it. And then sewed the piece of blue lace on, and then I added this journal card from the kit. There was only one journal card in the kit, and I printed 9 to a page. So that made them this size, and each journal can have 3 of them. So one of them is an embellishment. The other 2 will probably just be tucked in as tags. And then I just added a little bit of embellishment, some vintage crochet on each one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm thinking I might use some of the fabric and lace embellishments that I'm going to make today to put over on this side. So this will, once that's done, this will be sewn on as a pocket. That's all I've done so far. But what I have with me here today are some buttons in orange and blue and the white colors and brown and tan. I've got buttons. I've got some fabrics and laces and muslin type of fabrics for the bases. And I just want them to be small little embellishments. So I'm gonna let's get a few bases ready. I like to use the scraps of the linens that I cut up and use, as I love those fabrics. So I save those scraps to make embellishments with. Now this one is pretty. It's got a little bit of lace on both edges. And of course I just have plain muslin too. Don't know if I'll use this one, but I'll get it out. I love these kind of, it's not netting, it's too soft to be netting, but kind of looks like it. Mesh. Okay, so that's enough for bases. I'll cut a few to the size I might want. This one probably won't be a base. I just want to make sure I get that in there. I almost got a set of shelves hung up in here yesterday. I have one set. See, I had 2 sets in my other house, and I've been waiting on one set. Got taken home with someone because he thought I didn't need it. Someone told him I didn't want it, so he took it because I was letting whoever was helping me move. I was just telling them to take stuff that I didn't want, so he just thought I didn't want it. I've told you that before. And so far he hasn't brought it back yet. And I kind of just, I was waiting for both sets of shelves to be here before I asked my son-in-law to hang them for me. And since I decided I'm not waiting anymore, I'm going to pretend they don't exist. I don't have another set of shelves. So my son-in-law and my daughter were going to come over and help me get the set that I do have hung up. And I was going to make dinner for them. And then I sat down to eat lunch, and it was just like, it was deli turkey and, not much. And when I got up to come back in here to do some more work on these journals, I was sick. I had a vertigo attack, and it, you know, made my head was just swimming, and it made my head hurt, and it made my stomach upset, and I couldn't do anything. I had to go sit down, close my eyes. I couldn't even read or watch TV. So I had pulled stuff out, you know, moved stuff around in here so they'd be able to get to the wall and hang the shelves. So it's still kind of in disarray in here, but I'm feeling better. I still feel a little wobbly. I don't feel dizzy, but I feel a little, I don't have an appetite. I don't feel nauseous really, but I don't have an appetite. And what was the other? Oh, I feel weak. But I'm up and about. I went to the post office. I'm doing stuff. So they're going to come today. So I did have to move some things back away so I could actually get some work done in here today. But it's still in disarray. So I have my little base fabric. I've got this piece of vintage lace that's stained and a little piece of heart-shaped lace. So I'm going to pick out some buttons to embellish. Maybe just two. I hate covering up that pretty lace. It's such a pretty piece. And I have a needle and thread here. So I'm just gonna sew these on. On my way home from the post office, I drive by a dear friend of mine who lives on the street that I go on to go to the post office, and we live, you know, we live in the same town. We used to live on the same street. That's how we became friends when our kids were young, and our kids were friends and we were friends. She is the sweetest woman, and her husband is wonderful, and they moved, but still I could walk to her house, and we just, you know, life gets busy and you don't do what you think you're going to do, and so we are not in constant contact, but we still love each other. And anyway, as I went by her house on my way to the post office, I saw she was having a yard sale out back. So on the way home, I stopped, and it's a yard sale that her granddaughter is doing to help support the Humane Society, or the animal shelter, or something like that. They're all animal lovers. And so of course Bev is out there with her. It was really hot out there too. So I got to see my friend, visit with her for a bit. So like I said, we don't see each other a lot, but when we do, we are delighted and we catch up with each other and say how wonderful it is to see each other, because it is. So that was nice. Two of her, all of, you know, she's just a little older than me. All her kids are adults like my kids are, and she has grandchildren, but two of her daughters were there. They were older than my kids, the daughters. So I knew them, they know me, but I was more familiar with the two younger ones because they're my two kids' age, the son and the daughter that are my kids' ages. And they weren't there, but their children were. So I got to see a bunch of them. They all live down in the Virginia area. Most of them. So the buttons are sewn on. I did not sew the lace onto the background. I'll have to glue that. Or maybe I'll do slow stitching with embroidery floss around that. I think I might do that, but maybe I'll do that while I watch TV tonight. Just gonna knot my thread a little bit here and cut it. I don't know how I ended up there. I think I've got this long thread going from here to here because I went to put my needle up in the wrong button, but that's okay. This is going to be glued down. So there's one. Oh, and I will glue this heart on too. I'll glue the heart on after I slow stitch around the lace. That's cute. I like that. I think I'll have fun making these. I could have made them a little bit bigger, but since the pages in the Traveler's Notebook aren't very big, I just made them small. I wonder if I could get a little bit of orange in there. I'm going to use a different piece. I've got this white orange lace I can use too. I think that rather than watching me sew, having you watch me sew, I am just going to create my little collages of fabrics and laces and buttons and whatnot, and then I'll do the slow stitching and the sewing on of the buttons off camera. I don't know if I want buttons because of that round. I'll either have to take that off or not use buttons. It's too much round. What can I use instead of buttons? Could use maybe a piece of this. I don't really want to cut that. It's so pretty. Not liking that, so maybe I'll do away with the round and go with the buttons. Oh, there's a little square button and a flower button. That's kind of round. Get that one. Maybe if I just found some square buttons, I could use the round, the circle, orange circle. Oh. Any more There's a brown flower. I don't see any square ones in there. Let's see what we can do with this stuff. Yeah, I like that. So we'll go with that. This one's a little bit bigger. I'll use that little piece with the lace on the edge. Let's go for some blue stuff now. Look at this eyelet that I have, this wide eyelet. I never find a use for it, but it's got orange and blue on it, so I'm hoping this is going to find a place in the journal, even though it is pretty big and the journals are narrow, so I don't know if it will be possible, but we'll give it a shot. Thought I brought some blue lace over, besides this big wide stuff. Not seeing it. I'm just making a mess while I look through everything. I can use a piece of gray maybe. Add a little bigger piece of blue there. Wider. I've got lots of different shades of blue. I'm looking for the right shade. Oh, this has some orange modeling in it. That's cool. I'll get out some blue buttons while I have them dumped. That one's pretty. I'm dropping buttons on the floor. Okay, so that's the third one. I have 3 traveler's notebooks, and I'd like to have 3 clusters in each one. Let's look at this pocket. Oh, I need to make some small enough to put on there if that's what I want to do. So this one has an irregular shape. There's a little bit of blue lace. But it's on blue lace, so I think I'm going to go with orange on this one. Orange, or I had a little piece of a tan. Here it is. It's kind of hiding in between these thick ones and I never see it. There's another square one. Too much orange. I think we'll just go with 2 buttons on this one. There's really nothing to them. It's just having the fun, taking the time and having the fun of arranging things. I do find it fun to do that. I'm just going to keep using this for the size. They all have the same lace and card on them. A lot of big buttons in there. I don't want the big buttons. This button, I remember this button. It was glued to a card that my mother had in her fabric shop. And I made myself, I was married and had kids, and I made myself a peach colored skirt and jacket. It was so cute. And I used those buttons on my peach colored jacket. And all these years I've had the leftover buttons on the card. Look at this with a little plaid design in there. I think we'll just leave that like that. Let's do one with this mesh. had to pause to itch my leg. I felt like something was biting me. I think I want something solid behind the mesh. This one's pretty. I wish it was smaller. I'm going to cut a little flower off of this lace and see how that looks on there. Yeah, that adds something. So I've got 3 for these cards. I've got 3 other ones. So I'm going to make 3 more, and if I don't use them, it's okay, because I'll have them for something else. I've got this piece of embroidered linen that has some orange in it. I don't think I can do too much to it because of the embroidery right on the piece itself. I think I'll just use that one, and I won't even sew it on. It's already got the old thread through it, so I'm just going to glue it on. Okay, there's another one. Let's take a piece of this lace. And again, I'll just use one button, and I'm going to glue it on because it's got the thread, and it's that really pretty blue one. I think all of these are a little small, so I'll get another piece. I was supposed to work today, but when I go to work, they have to screen me with the thermometer. I did have a low-grade fever yesterday, too, with whatever was going on with me. I don't think I've ever had a fever with vertigo before. It was just weird. But anyway, they take your temperature. I don't have a fever today, but they also ask questions like, have you had nausea in the last 24 hours? And I would have to say yes, and then they wouldn't let me work, even though it's not COVID related. So I just didn't go to work. Took a day off today. So I've got some coffee dyed cheesecloth. I really liked the way that little daisy flower on the mesh background worked, so I'm going to use another one of those. And I think we'll go for some more blue here. Oh, sorry. All right, so I've got them all arranged. It's going to take me some time to get them all put together since I'm doing a lot of handwork on them. But I think that'll be good for me to just sit on the couch for a while and do some of that handwork since I'm still recovering. So that's going to do it for today. Let me just see if I can show you, as I get these buttons put away, show you what we've done without messing them up too much. There. Does that help? Can you see them? You'll see them again once they're all put together. I can't get them all in camera. But there they are, 9 of them. And I'm looking forward to getting them done so I can put them in these pretty books. I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot of fancy stuff. I mean, these are a little bit fancy and the covers themselves are fancy. But, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do in these yet. I don't think I'll put fabric flips in them. I'll just use the clusters. Let me see what ephemera I pulled out. I just went through my ephemera folder binder and pulled out some orange and blue stuff. I've got these couple of tags. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm still moved. These tags. Oh, I did pull out, that's another thing I did do in these books. I pulled out some ladies that had the right colors that I had already printed and cut out. So I can make a tag to tuck in them. There's that one with a lot of orange. There's that one with a lot of blue. And that one with, her skin looks orange and she's wearing blue. Her skin and hair have the orange tones, so she's perfect. So yeah, there'll be quite a few embellishments and pockets and things in the journals. But okay, so this was just an extra one. I pulled out 3 dresses. I don't know if I'll use them, but I pulled them out just in case. And then, like I said, I've got more of these cards. These were some extras. I didn't know what ladies I was going to use on the fronts, but I might use them inside the book. And just some little cards that I can use. That's all I pulled out. Maybe I'll use little glassine baggies and stuff like that. But right now, I'm gonna kind of clean up this mess and then go work on sewing some of these embellishments together. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you will come back and see progress on these little unusual journals. And I'll see you again the next time. Bye-bye.